today when the mayor's...
I just gave it a little squeeze and the news anchor's voice changed pitch. It sounded like a cartoon character gone off key. His co-host rushed over with a glass of water and only then did his voice go back to normal. You think that was it? I wasn't done. Next, I changed the words on the teleprompter without even touching it.
And I do the cha-cha like a sissy girl.
The screen showed everything as usual, but the anchor read out exactly what I changed. Everyone around him was totally confused, and I wasn't finished. Then I made the guy start babbling nonsense. You're asking why I mess with them like that? Well, to explain that, we gotta start from the beginning. I'm Bruce Nolan, the unluckiest guy on the planet. Think stepping in dog poop is the worst part of your day? Nah. That morning, I watched my couch turn into a giant litter box. My dog stood right next to it, calm as ever, like he was in a 5-star restroom. I rushed over to grab him, but of course he was already done, and gave me this look like he'd just won something. And that wasn't even the end of it. Stepped outside and hit a massive traffic jam. Think I'm the patient type? Then you've got the wrong guy. Sitting through red light after red light, I started cursing God in my head. Are you messing with me on purpose? Then came the worst day of my life. I lost my job, got into a fight with my girlfriend, and even wrecked my car. Fed up, I took the Lucky Charm bracelet she gave me and chucked it straight into the ocean. Right then, my pager went off. Didn't recognize the number, so I ignored it. But it kept calling, over and over. Finally, I snapped and threw the damn thing out the window. Even though my pager was smashed to bits, the thing still rang. Out of pure politeness, I picked up. The voice on the other end knew everything about me, not just my name, but stuff no one else could possibly know. And then he offered me a special job. So I drove my beat-up car over there, pulled up in front of this wrecked building, and yeah, my heart sank a little. But since I was already there, figured I might as well take a look inside. Turns out, the game was just getting started. You ever get that feeling? Like you walked into a building but somehow ended up in another dimension? The lobby was this echoey, abandoned husk, like time forgot it. Not a soul in sight, not even a fly bothered to show up. Apparently, only the 7th floor was still in use, but of course, the elevator was broken. A janitor in overalls gave me a friendly heads up. Stairs only. Was fate messing with me again? By the time I finally dragged myself up to the 7th floor, out of breath and full of conspiracy theories, I was convinced. This had to be some kind of prank show. I was about to turn around and leave when I heard something in the distance. I followed the sound, and through this blinding, almost absurdly bright beam of white light, a man slowly came down the stairs. And when he looked up, I nearly fell over. It was the janitor, but this time, he wasn't holding a mop. He lifted his hand and snap, the lights went out. I tried to turn and leave, but then he took off his work jacket, revealing a spotless white suit underneath. I froze. Was this some kind of elaborate prank? A hidden camera show? Where were the cameras? Then he said it. I'm God. And honestly, my first reaction wasn't awe, it was doubt. If this guy was really God, why was heaven set up in some half-abandoned office building? Still skeptical, I played along. We did a little guessing game with his hands, and the result...
How many now?
7.
Aha! Turns out this Mr. God had heard all my complaining and brought me here for a reason. He wanted me, a loudmouthed mortal, to experience what it's like to do his job. I was just about to turn and leave when something hit me. I never stepped in that damn puddle. That made no sense, none at all. I quickly told myself hallucination, but then I got in my car, and no matter what I did, the thing wouldn't start. I decided to find a quiet spot to clear my head. Walked into a small diner, wanting to see if I really had some kind of godly power. So I started focusing, and slowly, sugar and cream floated right onto the table. The old guy next to me nearly popped his eyes out, and me, I was hyped, like a newbie who just maxed out all their skills. I quietly brought my hands close to the soup bowl and gently split it in two. Sure enough, the tomato soup actually parted, and a little breeze flipped over some napkins. I was thrilled. I really did have godly powers.
Having fun?
Of course, I got excited way too soon. Out of nowhere, God popped up right beside me like a teacher grading papers. He laid down 2 rules. 1, don't tell anyone you're God. 2, don't mess with anyone's free will. Never thought I'd go from world's most hated washed-up reporter to Bruce, the all-knowing, all-powerful God, in just one day. The change happened as fast as me swapping shirts. Oh, and by the way, if I close my eyes open and open again, I'm already rocking the latest season's high fashion, so tell me, impressed or what? The air on the street smelled fresher than ever, and I was bouncing down the road like some comedy lead until I saw them. Those punks who not only got me fired but also beat me up that day. God really has a weird sense of fairness. I took a deep breath, feeling this crazy power surge through me, and strode right up, ready to talk fairness with them. They looked at me like, here comes this idiot again. But before I could say a word, the boss's face turned as red as a ripe tomato, and he couldn't get a single word out. Then, out of nowhere, a monkey jumped right out of his pants. They bolted, ran like they'd seen a ghost. Early the next morning, still half asleep, weird voices started creeping into my head like they were drilling right in. I opened my eyes and saw the dog standing by the couch. Without thinking, I gave a command, and it obediently ran to the bathroom, flipped up the toilet seat, did its business, flushed, all in one smooth move, no reward needed. I kissed my girlfriend goodbye, ready for breakfast, but she frowned and said, "How come my body suddenly looks better?" I quickly denied it. There's no way I'd mess with her free will. Before she finished her sentence, I'd already found an excuse and bolted out the door. Today, I'm going to take back my lost anchor job. But just a few steps out, I spot a bunch of kids gathered around my beat-up car, their eyes shining as they look at it. Only then do I realize how much power I actually have now. Stuck in traffic? I just wave my hand and red lights switch to green instantly. All the cars part ways for me. At the interview site, Channel 5's usual rivals start mocking me. Here comes another mess up. I don't even bother with them because I'm ready to break a big story. A police dog pulls out a dead body. I get some kids to help shoot the footage, and just like that, a city-shaking news story is born. It blows up, and suddenly I'm the exclusive king of the news world. I took my girlfriend to a fancy restaurant. She looked at me like I was finally a man who made it. I leaned in, trying to surprise her with a proposal, but her eyes seemed a little distant and I didn't notice at all. Just as I was about to speak, that annoying voice came back and I started nervously looking around. I ran away, but the voices followed me. When I opened my eyes again, I was standing on the peak of Mount Everest. God was there, telling me those voices were people's prayers. I was speechless. I'd promised to change the world, but he just laughed, saying I couldn't handle even the prayers from a few blocks away. Back home, I got so irritated I started clawing at my ears. I had to find a way to deal with the prayers. I thought about using a locker, but the whole place almost got crushed. Tried sticky notes, turned the entire house into a paper jungle. Luckily, my girlfriend was out cold, or else I'd have been kicked out for sure. In the end, I decided to use the computer. Simple, fast, and logical. I built a prayer system and hit enter to start downloading, but after a whole night, only 1.5 million prayers had come through. That's when I realized how noisy this world really is. I worked my ass off for 3 or 4 hours, finally got the all-done message, and was about to proudly refresh the screen when the system popped up again. New prayers, 3 million. I stared at the screen, my eye twitching. In the end, I made a lazy but satisfying choice. Approve all. Someone got a promotion, someone found love, someone suddenly got hotter. Me, as the guy in the spotlight tonight, I'm finally making moves. With God's powers in my hands, even I started to admire my own face. But then, I called her the woman whose smile used to make me lose it. Her coldness instantly snapped me back down to mortal level. She was still mad about me disappearing without a word last time. No worries, I had a trick up my sleeve. Dog, remote control, and our old favorite movie playing. Every scene felt like a personal tribute I made just for myself. The dog even behaved, resting its head on her lap. A loyal little wingman. And me? I sat on the couch, fiddling with my phone, my mind full of romance and making up. Then, out of nowhere, a female anchor barged into my life. Both obsessed with me and full of admiration. And just like that, Grace walked in and caught the whole thing. At that moment, I realized the downside of this glory life kicked in. She walked away and I chased after her, but it was too late. In her eyes, I was the guy at the party holding someone else unforgivable. Meanwhile, the whole world started falling apart because of the wish handling I'd done earlier. The city plunged into blackouts, crowds rioted, and news anchors went crazy on air. Back on live TV for the first time in a while, just as I was about to speak, the power cut out again. Colleagues fought for camera time, and backstage was total chaos. I knew it was all my fault. No more excuses, no more running away. I turned off the camera and walked out of the studio. I had to face it myself. Flames lit up the streets, people roaring in wild celebration, smashing storefront windows in their anger. At that moment, I truly understood. Wishes are dangerous. Godlike powers aren't all-powerful. And I was just a clown who turned dreams into disasters. I shouted God's name in the ruined city, but no one answered. Only when I finally gave up did he quietly appear behind me, calm as ever. We swept the floor in the lobby. Yeah, you heard right. Swept the floor. No spells. No saving the world. Just cleaning a patch of floor. He said, "With every inch we sweep, the world heals an inch." I stayed silent, and in that moment, I finally understood. This wasn't a miracle from above, but that's exactly what made it the greatest miracle. I sat in my room staring at her photo. No more using godlike powers, just living each day seriously. Stuck in traffic. I waited. Someone needed help. I reached out. Even the dog stopped using powers. I taught it to go potty on cue myself. I gave my anchor seat back to my colleague, went back to being a field reporter, and spoke to the camera with real honesty. No one expected me to change, but everyone saw it. I really was different. I stopped praying to have it all. Now I just want to find the her I lost. Until that day, her best friend came to me and said something that made my heart race instantly.
What's the time for you?
I shakily opened my computer and found that prayer. Lines of text appeared on the screen. She asked God to help Bruce find his way, to be happy, even if it wasn't with her. That night, I knelt in the rain, tears mixing with raindrops. Not out of pain, but because I finally understood how badly I'd messed up. A light cut through the darkness. I thought it was God's arrival, but then I realized it was death. I died, ending in chaos. And then I met God again.
I want her to be happy.
I was reborn. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed, and she stood by my side, her eyes full of worry. She still came. At my lowest point, the first thing I said wasn't, "I love you," nor "don't leave." I said, "I'm sorry." Her gaze finally softened. I finally understood. Miracles aren't about changing the world. They're about us being willing to change ourselves.